Hello viewers, welcome to Tech Eye. In our second class on the pen tool, we'll cover tracing, layers, and the shape builder. Let's get started. Firstly, select the image you want to trace. I've chosen a logo from sportslogo.net. It belongs to the Memphis Grizzlies, a basketball team. It's quite simple yet interesting, with some curves. Starting with simpler designs will help you learn easily before advancing to more complex ones. Now, let's save this image and proceed. There are two ways to place an image in Illustrator. The first method involves using drag and drop. To do this, locate the image file on your desktop or in any folder where you saved it. Click and hold the image file, drag it into the Illustrator window, and release the mouse button. The second method is through the File menu. Go to the File menu at the top of the Illustrator window and choose Place from the drop-down menu. This action will open a browsing window where you can navigate to find your image file. Select the file and click Place. Firstly, to center the image, click on it and then position it in the center of the artboard. It's important to note that when you place any image in Illustrator, it is linked by default, indicated by a cross symbol. This means the image is not physically part of the Illustrator file, but rather connected externally. To integrate the image into the file, a process known as embedding, keep the image selected and locate the Embed button at the top. Click on Embed, and now the image becomes part of the Illustrator file itself. Now that we've placed and embedded the image onto the artboard, let's explore the panels on the right side. You can keep them open if needed, or open them individually based on your requirements. The icon resembling layers is crucial. Once you open the Layers panel, you'll notice it organizes elements much like layers in a cake. Each layer remains separate, preventing them from merging with one another. This feature is common in Illustrator, Photoshop, and similar software, allowing us to stack and edit layers independently. Within the Layers panel, you'll see an eye icon next to each layer. Clicking on this icon toggles the visibility of that layer. If you click the eye icon, the layer will disappear from view. Next to the eye icon in the Layers panel, you'll find a lock icon. Clicking on it will lock the selected layer, preventing any changes from being made to it. This can be useful when you want to work on other layers without accidentally modifying the locked one. Another useful technique is to use the flyout button located near the Layers panel. When you have a layer selected, click on this button, and you'll see an option labeled Template. Choosing this option automatically locks the layer and reduces its opacity. This makes it lighter in color, allowing you to trace over it easily on a new layer. This method keeps the original artwork visible for reference without it being too distracting. Now, let's begin tracing. Start by selecting the Pen tool. Notice how the logo is symmetrically designed. You can create just one half of it, and then duplicate it to achieve the full design. However, upon closer inspection, you may notice some subtle differences in certain areas. Let's examine these differences closely to see how they affect our approach. Let's begin tracing from the center, although you can start from any corner. I'll copy the half once it's done and move it aside. It's straightforward. Just click to create anchor points, ensuring smooth curves where needed. When you encounter a corner, click on the anchor point and adjust its handles to close the curve properly. Understand? I'll continue tracing the entire outline in the same manner. If you make any mistakes with the points, no worries. You can adjust them later. One crucial tip: avoid filling the shape. It's best to keep only the stroke visible and set the fill to none. Otherwise, the fill color may obscure your artwork. I'm changing the stroke color to yellow so it's easier to see. Now, let's proceed with clicking here. Don't worry about minor adjustments for now. Those can be refined later. When creating smooth curves, try to keep the handles aligned with the upcoming lines, as I'm demonstrating here. Great! We've traced half of it. It's beneficial to zoom in a bit now and refine any curve issues. You can also adjust the shape by selecting the entire path, not just the curve handles. Another technique is to adjust the path by dragging it outward slightly between points, which helps in easy adjustments. Now, addressing some issues in this area by pulling the line inward and adjusting the handles accordingly. All right, half of the tracing is complete. I'll make a copy of this half, reflect it, and position it here for the full design. To reflect the copied half, right-click and go to Transform. Reflect. Choose Vertical and copy to place it next to the original. Let's fix the sum difference on the other side. Now, select both halves, and under the menu, choose Average and then Join. Alternatively, use the shortcut Ctrl+Alt+Shift+J to perform both actions at once. Zoom in for precision. Use the shortcut Ctrl+Alt+Shift+J again. Now we have the complete outline traced. Next, let's address the inside part. We'll start by creating this section. Firstly, I'll create a new layer for this, or you can work on the current layer after locking it to prevent any disturbances. It's worth noting that all paths within a layer are visible individually here. I've now locked the outer path and will proceed to create the interior portion. Even if we create it in segments, it won't be an issue. Let's start from this point. Great! I've completed half of it. Now, I'll continue. Don't worry about following along just yet. It'll become clear soon. We've completed this section in fill. Let me fill this area temporarily to give you a clearer idea. Now, let's proceed to trace the blue part. I'll start from here. Remember to keep the fill off and the stroke on. All right, continuing in the same manner. Now, I'll apply the same color to this part as well. If I turn on this layer, you'll see the progress we've made so far. That's it. We've completed this section. Now, how do we add the finer details inside? I'll work on them separately. For instance, I'll build this white section and these eyes to complete our logo. Let's start on this. Now, the eye part. I'm making a copy of the yellow part of the eye and reflecting it. If I pull out the Layers panel, you'll see all the layers I've used to create this logo. I've hidden the template layer, and the logo is now fully completed. This tracing process can seem lengthy, but it's a methodical approach where you place anchor points and refine curves deliberately. Practice makes it easier and more precise. Now, you might ask why we go through the effort of tracing. The original image was a raster image, which means it would lose quality if scaled up. By tracing it in Illustrator, we convert it to a vector format. This ensures it retains sharpness and clarity even at large sizes, making it ideal for printing and scaling. Now let me explain how the Shape Builder tool works. Imagine you have two separate objects. If you select both of them and use the Shape Builder tool, dragging across them will join them into a single path, like this. I'm demonstrating this using only strokes for clarity. Alternatively, you can use the Shape Builder tool to cut parts of the objects. Pressing Alt while using the tool changes the cursor to a -U sign. Dragging while holding Alt will cut out the selected area. Hope you understand the Shape Builder tool and it will be helpful for you. That concludes today's lesson. I hope you've learned something new and enjoyed the session. Please practice what you've learned and share with your friends. If you're new here, consider subscribing to my channel. Your feedback is valuable, so feel free to like or dislike the video and leave your comments below. Stay tuned for more tutorials covering various topics from basic to advanced levels. Thank you.